I think I was like a container boy, like working in containers, like unpacking containers.
Yeah.
Bro, I hated it, man. Like, just absolutely
How
hated it.
long did you do that for?
Bro, like maybe like a month.
Man,
And
stop
I was
calling me
out,
Kane,
bro.
Marty. Just stupid jobs, bro.
You're listening to Locals Only, a Sunshine Coast-based podcast focusing on profiling the best young and emerging business owners the coast has to offer, showcasing the journey of the next generation of movers and shakers and the ones to watch as they set the benchmark in small business. This podcast is sponsored by Local Property Group.
Reed Mahoney, welcome to Locals Only, episode 4, my man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
My pleasure, my pleasure. How you been?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's holiday time, so I'm happy.
Back on the Sunshine Coast, we're only talking about off air how slow the sunny coast is compared to Sydney at the moment, eh?
Yeah, it's very different.
What's keeping you busy at the moment?
Obviously, back at pre-season and it's pretty full on. So after having 10 weeks off on holidays and then going back to training, it can be pretty...
Few scabs and scars on the face already, too.
Yeah, it's been tough, man. So the new coach, he loves a bit of wrestle and that, so we've been getting into each other. But no, it's been training, man. And obviously, from what I've been to previous, because obviously new club and that's obviously been a big change for me. So adapting to that and the new program and stuff like that. So it's all happening, yeah.
And we'll park that for a minute. I guess we'll certainly get into footy life and certainly this season, big changes for you and whatever else is going on. But obviously the purpose of the podcast is talking to Sunny Coast locals, man, guys who have grown up locally and now doing some cool things. Obviously talking off air. A lot of previous guests and future guests are really business orientated, but for me, obviously, as you would know already, obviously I'm a mad footy fan and a sports fan in general, and I really appreciate the similarities between high performance sport and high performance business. You know, I think there's this mental edge and this different level of work ethic that just people wouldn't understand unless you're in those high pressure environments. So I want to really get into that, but let's first and foremost learn a little bit more about Reed Mahoney. First and foremost, I think there's a lot of people outside, you know, mine and yours immediate circle who probably don't know that you're a Sunny Coast local boy. So let's talk about Reed, or AKA Boof, growing up, mate. Let's learn about that. So what's your origin story, mate? Where'd you grow up? What was family life like? Let's start there. Stepping stone.
Yeah, obviously grew up in Landsborough. Went to Landsborough Primary School, BOR High. Pretty standard stuff, obviously. Family was just we all loved playing footy. Obviously lived on a fair bit of acreage for a little bit, and you were there a few times, and we had a bit of fun and motorbikes and cars and stuff like that. And just honestly just a kid that just loved playing footy and worked extremely hard to get to where I was. And obviously you need a bit of luck to fall your way, obviously in them sort of times. But just normal country Aussie kid. And
so super. And you're probably a little bit modest there, because I think. And obviously, as I said, we can kind of go as deep or as shallow as you like. But obviously, family of 4, right? Family of 4, you're the second youngest.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference between you and Toddy? You and Toddy are 6, 7 years?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like that. Maybe.
And then obviously one in between again, then a younger sister. So three boys, girl being the youngest, Kyla. So family of 4, like super blue collar, right? Hard working family, always kind of. And I hope you don't mind me saying, but always kind of that middle class, even sometimes slightly below middle class at times. Obviously, battlers, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously anyone, I hope unless you've been living under a rock for the last, 5 or 6 years, you know that, playing footy, particularly in your position, doing the role that you're trying to do, it's always a hard working kind of role. Did you get much of that sort of work ethic, you think, from the upbringing and the family life and that blue collar lifestyle?
It's actually funny you say. I've actually probably the last couple of years I've been working with a guy mentally and to sort of understand all those things of where I've been and who I am, and he doesn't tell me how to play footy, he doesn't tell me what to do. It's more of a understanding who I am, my purpose in my life, all these sort of things. And we always came back to these times being home, running around, going to training, and when we lived up the top of Mount Melham, used to run up the hill at night time and things like that. That I feel that they're interested in. It's just in me now, and
it's a psyche thing, like psychological thing, right?
And no one can take away the things that I've done, and I'm a big believer of, it's not what people see, it's what people don't see. And I feel those times when I was 16, 17, running up those hills and training by myself in the early mornings, before I go to school, is probably the reason that I'm the person I am today. And like the reason when I go to training, I want to be the fittest, I want to be the strongest sort of mentality. And obviously that comes from family. And we were never a gifted family. We never had all the money in the world. Mum and Dad obviously worked pretty hard and stuff like that, but we always just got by. And I think that's just part of who I am.
Yeah, back against the wall stuff. And I think it's probably important to mention as well that having a family of 3 boys plus your old man, obviously you're all tough as hell, of course, and really good mates with both your brothers, of course. But the interesting point to make here is you were kind of always a bit of a lone wolf, and we kind of saw that as your seniors for a long time as well. I mean, ultimately your brothers both played footy, of course, but stopped at a relatively young age. Kind of hit 16, 17, right, and sort of gave it away. So you were kind of, and being a few years younger, those hill runs and mountain runs and whatever else, you were a solo doing on a lot of those, right? You would have been pretty separated from your mates who were kind of playing at a good level. So it probably gives you credit where credit's due.
Yeah, and I sort of feel when they got to that age, obviously, going out and drinking.
Hitting the piss and all
sure. That. And I'm not saying I didn't do that, but they obviously didn't make mistakes, but just some things that I didn't like doing. And it's not that I don't do it now, but I feel them times I sort of learnt from the mistakes they've done, and I was able to grab it and sort of take my own path in a way. And I sort of learnt from them and their mistakes that they made. But yeah, once again, it's sort of that's who I am, and that's.
So there's probably a bit of as you said, seeing their mistakes, and hopefully they're proud of that as well. Your family seeing that, because obviously it was never you never had a lack of talent in the family, right? Your family always had plenty of talent to play footy, but obviously you've seen them not take that talent to the next level and going, well, screw this, let's take it a bit further.
Yeah.
So obviously you can tell, I guess, and that's an interesting point. I guess even though we've spoken on and off for the last few years, I've never probably really asked you that question in detail. But clearly there's been some sort of mental resilience created from an early age of having to go to. You've always had the support of the family. I think if anything, your family's probably more supportive than most in many ways. But you've always had the support there. But you've always still had that. You've had to draw your own path, right, of doing it yourself. So let's dive into that as well. So you go to school locally, you're playing footy locally, of course. So you obviously started at BUI playing footy. You went to Kwana at what age?
Yeah. I think I was 15.
How'd that all come about as well? What started, how'd that...
Because I was making a couple of rep teams, obviously 13, 14, and now I look back, like rep teams back then, they meant absolutely nothing. But
they tell you otherwise though. The coach no, you gotta be with the circle, right?
Like if I was giving any other kid advice and they didn't make a rep team at 13, I'd be like, mate, relax.
Don't worry about it.
Like, don't worry about it. But
that's good advice, by the way.
It is. And the boys that I was playing at BL with, I went to school with, they were playing B division, and obviously I thought, well, if I want to go anywhere, I can't keep playing B division. So obviously played a fair bit of footy with the boys up at Kwana, and one of the boys' dads was the coach, and that year, actually, I went to Redcliffe and I trained there for a few weeks.
16? Is that 15?
15, under 15. Yeah. So I was training down in Redcliffe for a few weeks because I was going to go play there. But it just got obviously too much for Mum and Dad driving down there every couple of days. So I ended up back at Kwana and then played a few years there. And then, that's sort of how it happened. It was sort of more of a pathway thing, and me playing at a higher standard more consistently rather than playing...
So 15s, 16s, was it 17s or 18s back then? 18s, so straight to 18s. So 15s, 16s, 18s, and then when have you kind of been? So first club, funnily enough, and for anyone who hasn't noticed, obviously the first club you went to was Canterbury, right?
Yeah. So I signed with them when I was 15. Actually, I played a schoolboys comp there and ended up signing there. And in the school holidays, every couple of months, I'd actually go down there for like a week, and we do like a training camp, and that was in 2015. Did that a couple times, and obviously they wanted me to go down a bit earlier, and I think I was only 16 and I just wasn't ready. So I obviously waited and wanted to finish school up here and that. But yeah, obviously signed there at Dogs when I was 15 and then continued to play out here till, I was 17 and then at Kiwana and then obviously moved on.
So how does that come about? I'm assuming and again, excuse my naivety, I've played footy for 25 years, but never been good enough to have a club or a scout or whatever come and look at what you're up to and if there's any players that are worthwhile. But what's the go there? I'm assuming a scout comes and watches your Kiwana games or was it a Redcliffe thing?
So when I was playing, it was like schoolboys, like an Australian tournament sort of thing.
Yeah.
I had a manager sort of approach me and they said there's a few clubs chasing you and all this, and I was playing with blokes that were already signed with clubs, and I was always never that one person and it sort of got to me a bit. 15, 16. I encourage anyone that age not to stress about it.
So you're working your ass off and no one's picking up.
And no one's picking up, nothing. Yeah. I had a manager come to me who's now still is my manager from when I was 15.
Yeah, right.
And we sort of knocked him back and we thought, well, we don't, it's a bit early, a bit too much pressure, and then we went, well, what can we lose? You know what I mean? So we took him on, and he ended up getting me a contract at the Bulldogs, and then obviously we talked to them a few times, and obviously they come and watch your games over the years, and then they decided they wanted to bring me down to play Cyril Connell, which is under 18s Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And then just finished the year off at school and went to schoolies, and then a week later was
straight out
in the middle of Belmore, and for an Aussie kid that lived on 100 acres for 10 years, into smack middle of Belmore.
Yeah, that's an experience, man.
It's a very different cultural difference.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what a Muslim was or all these different cultures and how they lived, and it's just completely different. And it takes you years to actually, understand and who they are, and not anyone.
But it's 17 years old. I mean,
I was. And I was already, homesick as it was.
Yeah.
All my mates were just finished school and they were all out doing things together, and I'm here. I'm in the middle of Sydney by myself, just training and stuff.
And you wouldn't have known anyone at that point, right? No, so you've just gone. So, and that's where I wanted to really get this to as well. So, I mean, the mental, again, we're going back to mental resilience here, which is why I wanted to talk to you to begin with. And this is really the similarities between, high performance sport and high performance business, because, man, people don't get into high performance business until they're, mid to late 20s at the earliest a lot of the time. You're 17 years old. You've, come from acreage in Landsborough, always being super tight with your family, to shipping out to Belmore by yourself. Because what they do, I remember I read an article on you a little while ago, actually, or recently when you first went back to Canterbury. They had this communal doghouse, right?
Yeah.
So there would have been other boys coming from other areas that lived in that
same
house.
So there there's a bulldog house, and there's parents. So it was two houses split into or one big house split into two.
Yeah.
So we had the front of the house, and it was an 8-bedroom. We had our own kitchen, everything, and then to get to their house, you walk out, and they have their own house at the back, sort of thing. So we all lived together. We all be boys, play PlayStation together, or stuff around. And then for dinner, I would go up to their house every night. And obviously, boys are from New Zealand, all parts of Sydney, country, New South Wales.
How many blokes were in this house?
Well, there was 8 rooms, 8 or 9 rooms. Jeez. Sometimes they were full.
Yeah.
And then sometimes boys would only come for a few weeks and they leave, and there'd be maybe 4 of us.
Yeah.
But early on, bro, I think it was just before Christmas or just after Christmas. I came back for Christmas, went back, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I remember just sitting there, bro. I was 7 years old. I felt like a man, sitting there crying. I was like, you know what, I can't do this.
So can't do this as in you're ready to throw it all anyway.
Yeah, I think because I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to get to anywhere. Didn't have a car at the time.
Yeah.
The car was still up here. Didn't have a job, so I was spending all day just sitting at home till 5 o'clock till I trained, because I was on the under 18s and all you do is train in the afternoons.
Yeah.
and you go to training, everyone knows each other, they all go to school together. And
Shit, man.
I'm
So,
going like, far out, bro, I can't do this, man. Like,
I can almost guarantee there would have been like tears and stuff in that
Oh,
moment, right?
yeah, and like, I
That's
tell
character
people every time, like, when I talk about this stuff is, like, the house parent I live in, her name's Viv, and she has like a husband, Sauce, and she has a couple of daughters and that. It wasn't for her for that night to just like, I remember she said to me, goes, if you want this bad enough, you'll stay. I don't know, we just had this connection, she just loved me.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just goes, if you want this bad enough, she'll stay. And I thought about it and I went, I'll give it a couple more weeks. And then I got a job, so I started working and then...
What did you do for your first job down there?
I did so many jobs, man. I can't even remember. I think I was like a container boy, like working in containers, like unpacking containers.
Yeah.
Bro, I hated it, man. Like, this absolutely...
How long did you do that for?
Bro, like, maybe like a month.
Man, stop calling you Kmart. Just stupid jobs, bro.
Yeah, bro. So I did that. And because I actually enrolled in... Because I did all right in school, so then I enrolled in uni. And because I wanted to be a school teacher. And I thought, I'll just wait till I go to uni and stuff like that. That never came about. Then I started working in a school with, like, kids, like, just like a teacher aide.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. So
Very
I'd work
cool.
like 3 or 4 days at a school. So, like, I was busy. And then I started to get to know more of the boys. And we'd go and hang out all night. Like, we'd go do stuff on the weekends. And mind you, at this time, I was still 17.
Yeah.
And, like, all the boys were over 18, right? So it got to the weekends.
Sit at home,
And
play PlayStation.
they all go out on the drink and that. I got to sit at home. I'm going, I think that was the hardest part. Man.
How long were you at the doghouse for, the communal house?
I was only there for like, I moved there in like November.
Yeah.
And then trained there, and then we played the SG balls. Under 18s only goes for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So I trained there, and then like had an injury, and then like I broke my back.
Jeez.
And then like only bad, like a fracture in my spine, and like was out for a few weeks. And like I was telling the kids, like, bro, I can't get out of bed, like everything, and that was obviously, I was just sitting at home.
Man, this is just shit getting thrown at you now, right?
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there going, far out, man. So then finished the season off. Obviously, I played like one last game. I started the whole season on like number 9, and then the last game obviously played on the bench because I was injured, and then finished the season. We got knocked out, and then because usually at that stage you get pushed up to like under 20s, and like under 20s back then was like, you know when they had the yellow ball, like NYC days, like if you played 20s, you're like the man, you know what I mean? Like
in Sydney, especially,
and like you play under 20s, like you're killing it.
Yeah.
So like that's all I want to do is get to that. You know.
So are you getting noticed? Like, are there any conversations around that point? So you finish the season. I'm assuming you're like 18 by the time you finish the season, or you still?
Yeah. I think I just turned 18 or something.
So so you've been down there for, let's call it, probably close to 12 months at that point. Right?
Oh,
So
no, not even.
Not
I
even.
reckon maybe like 7 months.
Okay. And where are the conversations going? Like, have you got guys talking to you saying, look, you're on the cusp. Look, we're looking at you for 20s. So we want to give you,
so they're like,
contract.
we're gonna push you up to 20s and come train with 20s. I'm like, mad. And then it's sort of a couple of weeks going by, I sort of just got pushed to the side a bit, and I'm like, a few weeks, I'm going, like, bro, why am I not playing? You know what I mean? Like, not 20s, but can't even play park footy because I wasn't registered or something. I don't know. And then I started playing for this. I played for this team in like the back of Bankstown.
True, like a local
team.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I could be doing this back home, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And then after that, bro, like a week later, I get a phone call from a manager, and he goes, "Oh, do you want to go? Oh, you know, there's an opportunity. You go to Para."
Yeah.
This is probably because there was a June deadline.
Yeah.
So it's just like maybe in early June. He goes, if you go there, you know, you could play 20s. And I was only like just turned 18. So like I was like, yeah, that's mad. And I thought, you know what, fuck it, bro, I'm just going to go do it. So packed my bags, said goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, wow.
And then went to Para and then sort of never looked back. And then, it's sort of how it all happened.
So Para, so you obviously you move at that point, like you get your own place, share house, you know a few boys at that stage. Like what's the play from there?
So then, just obviously I've left. So I leave the club and I go to Para, and sort of same sort of thing. I move into a house with boys as well. So like most clubs all have them. But Para had the same thing, and like now the boys that I live there, Or like my best mates. Like I was best man at my mate's
even
wedding.
now? Still? Yeah, right.
So the guy I was living with, I was best man at his wedding like a few months
how
ago. And I thought it was kind of easier because we were that sort of same age, where the other guys were a bit older than me, sort of thing. And same sort of thing. Then I started working full time with the kids and that, and then Braden started, we playing it under 20s.
I remember when you were playing 20s. I remember following the journey a bit, and just looking at like the school, like team lists and stuff every week and whatever else. I remember there was a bit of a competition for your spot though. Was that at Para?
Yeah.
Like, were you playing week in, week out at that point?
Well, the year that I moved there, I only played 2 games.
Yeah.
And then obviously did a pre-season. And then the next year I played every game. But I was off the bench.
I remember 14. Yeah, that's right.
I was off the bench.
Because the 9 went to 13 or something.
Yeah. So, but he was like the captain, and he was a bit older, played a couple of years. So, like, fair enough. And then I think by the end of the year, he sort of went to lock, and then I sort of played hooker. Because that year we made the grand final.
Yeah.
That was the year we made the grand final. And
you played 9 in the grand final?
Yeah. And it sort of went from there. And, bro, and then we played that grand final. And I sort of, after that, I was still working full-time, and I got, like, player of the year that year for the team, like, for the Para team. Yeah. And we were sort of like, well, what am I doing, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just play 20s again because I still could play under 20s. So I was like, well, that's fine.
So you're pushing 19, you're kind of 18 going into 19 at this point?
Yeah, I'm 18 going 19. I'm at work, and I get a phone call from a manager, and he sort of said that, he never really said about anything about training NRL at this stage, and he goes,
sorry to interrupt you there, but was NRL on your radar at that point, or was it just like was it a pie in the sky thing, or were you just like, man, I'm good enough? Like, I don't know. How was your confidence level at that point?
This is how I seen like, no offense to the guys that they were playing at that position in NRL. Yeah. I'm thinking like, far out, bro. Like,
I'm better than these guys.
I can be. You know what I mean? I've got a long way to go, but I can.
Like, at least compete.
Do you know what I mean? Right. I was at work, get a phone call from a manager, and he goes, do you want to train NRL? I'm like, is that even a stupid question? I moved here 3 years ago. Well, that's what I want to do.
One reason I'm here. Yeah.
And that's how it all started. And then I didn't even get a break. Just went next week straight into training, and NRL was different, man. Like,
and that's going in straight from 20s into NRL pre-season.
training? So it's just like, I just played under 20s, played grand final. I'm back at work full time. Like, everyone's supposed to be on break, and then straight into like NRL full time training, which is like, get rid of the job. Yeah. Monday to Friday I'm training.
But no contract or contracts.
No contract.
So just like train and trial deal.
Yeah, so all they said was, you'll train till Christmas, which was 6 weeks.
Yeah, right.
And that's it. That's all I got given.
Shit. So you're legit, so you're scrapping your job on the proviso that you're just going to work your ass off to hopefully get a full-time contract.
And I was earning more money at work than what I was on the training trial, because it's so bad, like what it was. And I thought, you know what, like, what am I going to lose? If they're going to make it or I'm not, sort of thing. And then obviously I train, but it's different. Like, I remember my first day, rocked up, had no idea what to expect. Packed my lunch, like everything. You don't pack your lunch when you go, like, you train NRL. You get you get provided food every day. Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah. I got my little sandwiches and that. Like, I'm going to work. I still remember it, man. It's so funny, bro. And like, so I went to training. Obviously, like, first few weeks I was, doing all right and the running and stuff. Physically, I wasn't up to it. Yeah. Like, I had Manu running at me, and he's a big scary man. You know what I mean?
And mind you, obviously you've beefed up a bit. You've had a couple of pre-seasons in the gym, clearly, but 18, 19, what you would have been like? What, 65, 70 kilos?
I was reckon I was 75 wet, ringing wet, and like.
Running against 100, 110 blokes.
And like, they're just up, they're going, and it's sort of when you get to that, they don't care. They're like, oh, I'll give this kid a run for his money, sort of thing. Testing, like, all the running stuff, all that I was fine with. And of course the footy stuff, it was hard. And you sort of get to a point like NRL training, they work your way up like through the weeks of how many kilometers you do. Yeah. So it's like, they do like 4-week blocks. So like by the 3rd and 4th week, you're running 30 to 40 kilometers a week in like a space of 5 days. Yeah. And like, so the first week or two, you're like, oh, I'm killing it. you get to the third week and you just down, you just spiral because like I just couldn't keep up. My body wasn't used to it, and it was like, and they sort of realised that, and they sort of looked after me a bit, sort of thing. But once I got to the 6 weeks, Christmas time, I thought, oh, well, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Coach comes up to me, goes, oh, mate, I want to see you after Christmas. I thought, oh, mad.
Yeah.
So the whole Christmas break, I just trained. Like, I just didn't want to come back.
Man, credit to you for that, then. Because, again, how easy would it be just to go, right, Christmas is in, I'm locked in for another opportunity next year.
But he just said, yeah, come back for a couple of weeks after Christmas, see how you go. And then I went back for a couple of weeks. And then a couple of weeks after, he goes, oh, I want you to stay till the end of January. And then January was like, oh, I want you to play in the trials. And then by I think my end of Feb, he gave me a 2-year contract. Like only like a rookie deal. But.
So let's go back to Christmas though. Pre-Christmas, it's purely just like, are you guys doing are you guys running ball work and shape and stuff by that point? So you're doing a little bit, but mainly they're judging you purely on your work ethic, right?
Yeah.
Getting in there and having a dig. And then hope that follows through to trials in the new year, right?
It's like...
So it's a bit of a gamble for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, oh, you know, this hit did all right. Obviously got player of the year. We made the grand final in under-20s. But from under-20s, NRL's different ball games, you know what I mean? So they obviously thought, oh, we'll give this kid a go, you know what I mean? If he goes all right, we'll see how we go. But if he goes all right, we'll just get rid of him. That's sort of, in a bad way, that's how it works in a way. So, like, I knew my work ethic could get me somewhere. It was whether someone was willing to give me the opportunity.
So you've come back that Christmas, come back home?
Yeah, so I've come back home and like just made sure I was training a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, now I don't do it as much because I know my body and what I need to do to get myself ready for the season after Christmas. But at that stage, this is my first pre-season. Now I think I've done 6 now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was hard.
Is it like I've always wondered this. Is it like like it can't be anything like local comps, but do you have the boys who are just dropping down and just like spewing their guts?
Oh yeah, we're all being like that.
Everyone's
Yeah.
just busted. Right?
We've had like Dill Brown. His first preseason was a year after me, and we had a camp out in Armidale, and we were doing like 1.5k runs.
Yeah.
And it was Armidale in the middle of summer. It's like 45 degrees. And we're doing like 1.5k time trials.
Jeez.
Or 2k time trial, I think it was. And we did 3 back to back.
Yeah.
And he got like to the third one and just passed out.
True.
And he was like fit. So he was like up the front. And I was like mid pack with a couple of the boys. And he's like on the ground and he's like crawling. And all the boys are into him like, you're soft, get up, get up. And then we didn't realise that like he just passed out and he's like can't see. We had to get an ambulance. Everything.
Oh, that bad?
Yeah.
Right.
But like it is, it's like it's a grind, man. Like you have like 4 sessions a day, and you got to be at your best every session.
Yeah.
Especially when you go on the field. Like field's maybe 2 to 3 hours on the field, and you're maybe running 9 to 10 kilometers. It doesn't seem like a lot, but over 100 meters.
Oh, and every
back
day.
and forths, up and downs everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you have lunch, and then you might have like a wrestle session. Then you have a break, and then you might have a gym session. And in between that, you've got meetings. You might have a forwards meeting, and you have a team meeting, and then you've got to go see the coaches individually about things. Like, it's very full on.
Yeah.
So, like, to be able to manage that is...
That's nuts.
It's hard, and, like, it takes years to sort of adapt.
So this is almost like, and this is probably where I was looking for that number one similarity, right? The similarity, and it might sound cheesy, but ultimately your body is almost your business, right?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, let's look at my business, right? You look at any business, you got to maintain that business. You got to keep that business fit and and slim and agile and whatever else. If you come through a recession, you got to make sure you've got to get through that, whatever else. So ultimately, your business, your body is your business. Your body's pretty much what's putting food on your table, and paying your bills and whatever else. So you've literally got to nurture the body more than anything else.
Yeah, well, that's what gets you through.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like pretty much like you coming to work. You'd have like maybe like a Monday like team meeting, what you want out of the week. Like we have that every day.
Yeah.
So we have an app. So you just log in on the app and it tells you every...
Like what's happened for the day?
For the day.
Yeah,
so it'd be like
gotcha.
8 o'clock, you have to be there by 8.
Yeah.
8:15 is like breathing. 8:30 is strapping. 8:45
so fully regimented.
Yeah, to every minute.
Yeah.
And then like obviously at a club you want to build culture. That's what it's all about. And bringing boys together and that. So like if you're late,
Exactly the same
if you're late, we have like a roll the dice thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, and each number has a meaning for it.
Yeah.
It's like boys, if you get like a 4, I think you have to wear a suit for the week.
Yeah, right.
So
At
like,
training.
Yeah. We have to wear a suit to training every week, like for the whole week.
Yeah.
Like things
Fuck,
like
I
that.
thought it'd be like buying coffees or something.
Oh nah, and like boys have to do the dishes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's similar. Like have all these meetings, but like away from the field, it's the same. Like I got to make sure that I'm getting the right sleep.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah, routine again, sleep and mindset, and obviously I was glad to hear that you're doing like the getting some training on on the mind stuff at the moment, right?
And it's obviously like off the field as well. Like I feel my profile is my business, and
For sure, brand. It's your brand.
It's my brand, and
Yeah.
obviously, you know, getting sponsors and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's all about networking and getting to know people and.
Yeah, I want to get into that actually. So we'll park that before we get too deep into it. So let's get back to Paris. So you come back, 2-year contract. I remember talking. It's funny, man. I remember talking to your old boy at the pub when that was happening. Yeah. And I'm like, we're all just there going, shit. Hopefully it just like comes through. Anyway, so you get the contract. So you're full time. Like, where are you at mentally with it? Because we're kind of skipping some mental steps here that. Like you might have blocked all of this out because it might have just been like this massive whirlwind for you coming through those stages. But you know, you've moved down at 17. You've gone through busted. You know, you've gone into share accommodation. You haven't. You know, you've played a couple of games at 18s, and it's kind of all been up in the air. You did your back. You've gone to para. Blah blah blah. So it's all. There's no real talk about a full-time contract until that first preseason at para, right? So. Like, where are you at mentally with all that? Like, are you just going through, like, where's the confidence level as a 18, 19-year-old kid, right? And we can say kid now because back then, like, it feels like it, right? And you look at 17, 18-year-old kids now, they are kids. So, like, let's say, for example, your family lived in Sydney and you had them close by and you had that support network, different story. Yeah. You're, miles away from your family, only being able to talk to them over the phone and whatever else, and at Christmas time. So, like, are you just building these mental calluses in your mind over time and just going, fuck it, I'm making this happen? Or are you getting to the point of going, like, make and break every day, coming home, cradle position, rocking back and forth? Or like, where's the resilience?
I reckon it's probably something that I haven't actually realised. Do you know what I mean?
Haven't considered it?
Just
like, haven't thought of it, like blocked it out, just like going forward?
As I was going through all these steps, like I was actually building so much mental resilience.
Yeah.
Because by this stage, me and my mates at that time, we moved out of the share house and we got our own place. And all my mates then, we were all like family.
Yeah.
Because one of my mates, he was from New Zealand. He was the same, never seen his family.
Yeah.
My other mate was from Gold Coast. So we all lived together. We didn't have anyone else. We didn't have family around. So we had each other.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where, like, every night we'd eat dinner together.
Yeah.
Every morning go get coffee together.
So without them,
like,
you're screwed.
And now they're like my best mates,
Yeah.
and like we just like now my mate's messaging me. He's at home in Sydney. He's like, hurry up and get home. Like, you know what I mean? Like we just can't get away from each other, sort of thing. But I think we built that back then because we didn't have each other. But I think without us even knowing, we built this like mental like strength that like, man, I've been in the dumps.
Have you considered it, like, and not to, I guess, pull it back to this conversation, but have you ever sat and reflected on that time? Or like,
well, ever since I started seeing this guy, I have.
Because it's all going back to that point. It's all going back to your mental resilience now always.
But
back.
Probably before that, no.
Yeah.
I just thought, it is like, I just went along with, I was chill, man. I just went along with the flow. I just went trained hard. When I had time off with the boys, we go have beers, you know what I mean? Like, and like you meet more people and they're all in the same situation and you just hang out like constantly, you know what I mean? Like I didn't, you'd get your mum come down every now and then, but like everyday grind it'd be the same. And it's probably not to this point now, me seeing this guy about my mental side of my football game and my life, that all this that happened before me was actually the reason.
And I obsess over that, bro. Like, I love that shit so much because that's the difference, right? I tell my guys, my team all the time because, again, I use so many sport analogies and One I remember using was like the Ben Hunt in that, 2019 grand final when he dropped 15 final when he dropped it. Like the skill difference, you look at Ben Hunt now, the skill difference between Ben Hunt and let's say Jonathan Thurston, skill difference probably relatively minor.
How many times do you reckon he's caught that ball?
100%, bro. 100%. And the difference in the big occasions is the ability to master your mindset, right? And that's where I want to really get to with you, because obviously you're still young enough. Like obviously you've gone to Canterbury now, and you probably, obviously would have been one of the senior guys even at Para, but going to Canterbury, you're going there as a big name signing, and the boys are going to be looking at you going, you're a leader. So that mental state for you're kind of taken to at a certain point at Para, and then obviously going to Canterbury now, it's going to be a different thing. Even go back to pre-season earlier, I saw all that when you didn't have to and whatever else. So your mindset now is going to shift to another level. So it's probably cool that you're getting to reflect on a lot of that. But as I said, bro, like I obsess over that because I think it's the single most important difference between making it and not making it. Yeah. And I think the best thing for you at 17, 18 was getting the hell out of here and getting down to Sydney, right? Yeah. And we're, funny thing, we're talking off air, of course, as well, that you can't wait to get back down there now, as much as the heart's on the coast. But, it'd be pretty cool living in Sydney as well. Yeah. So let's look, I guess, so you're at Para, you've got the full-time contract now, and we'll probably breeze through a little bit of this here. You rack up the 100 games, and congrats on that, bro. Like, the huge thing, obviously, even for someone who's never played professional footy, some guys would be cheering just playing one.
And I feel like
100, right? So
I played 100 games, but between that I had a lot of setbacks.
Yeah.
I think I was pretty lucky. I think I played 70-odd games straight without missing a game.
Through injury and that.
Yeah. I think maybe I missed one game, maybe, but it was nothing. But then obviously 2 years ago had a major injury. And,
I want to touch on that because obviously a shitty point in time as well, right?
Yeah,
let's talk, and hopefully you're okay talking about it. But obviously touching on, was it 20? What
year were we?
23. Yeah, so 2021 Origin time. You look at all the headlines and whatever else. Reid Mahoney about to make his State of Origin debut. You went into camp too, right?
Yeah, so I was playing because I think what's Origin, round 12 into the season.
Yeah.
I think I was playing the best footy I've ever played in my life. I think I was at the time I was actually leading the Daily M's.
Yeah,
which means nothing, but
but still credit to.
I was getting top
playing
2 or something, and obviously playing Origin in Queensland kids, everything you want to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had Harry Grant there, who's a great footy player. And I thought, and then I got the phone. Obviously, I got a few hints from the coach that week that, have you got a phone call yet? And I'm like, what? Thought he was just absolutely talking smack. Anyway, and then they played on that weekend, and on the Sunday I get a phone call from coach, and he goes, I want you to come in, and I thought, hurry up, mad.
Yeah.
I mean, going into camp is just an absolutely.
But are you going into camp to go, look, I'm going as much as I can, or I'm going to play?
I'm going to play.
Yeah, 100%. I love that, bro. Yeah.
I'm coming here to play. You know what I mean?
Love that. Because you do hear some stories about boys going into Origin camp. You hear them on whatever. It's like, oh, look, I'm just going to go learn as much as I can. And
nah, bro, fuck that, bro. I'm here 100%. I'm here to play, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, you trained a few days, and it was a bit weird, bro. I didn't really get... Probably, we had media on the first day, and the team. There was heaps of teams coming out, and they named the team.
Teams, yeah.
They named the team in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
But then Fox put the team that was I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm getting interviewed saying, are you going to play on the bench? Where are you going to start? I'm like, I'm not sure. So I spoke to the coach. So I think I'm on top of the world, bro. You know what I mean? And a few days go by, and then obviously I get told that I'm not playing. And I'm going to be 18th man or whatever, 19th man. Bro, at the time, I was shattered. I was like, went to my room, bro. I legit, wasn't in tears, bro, but I was just fuck, so close, bro.
But look at everything leading up to it, man. And that's what people just don't understand with the sacrifice. You've left, and that's where you probably take it back to 17.
Yeah.
17, leaving the coast, moving to Sydney, going through all that bullshit for so many years, ups and downs, to get to that point, to have it so close, right?
It was right there.
Yeah.
And I was.
So tears at that point?
A little bit.
Close enough, yeah.
But I was just like, not disappointed in myself, but I don't know. I was just like, just had this anger about. I was like, far out, man.
Yeah.
Like I was so close. Not hating on anyone. That coaches made a decision for the best of the team. And that's fine. But
Yeah.
It was more about me. Do you know what I mean? I was like, far out, so close. And then obviously.
So they released you back to club footy that week.
Yeah. So we played on the Sunday afternoon in Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know. And then they go, you can go back and play. I think I was 19th man or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
They go, you can go back and play, go home on the Saturday, do captain's run, play Sunday, and come back into camp on Monday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, you know what, mad. I'm in the mix. That's all that matters. So I went there and I'm like, in my head, I'm going to go play my best footy right, like this day. I'm going to go to Newcastle. I'm going to play my best footy. Bang, bro. I reckon I played like pretty good. First like 20 minutes, set up 2 tries and like thought I was pretty good. And then 3 minutes to go.
I remember.
I think I went to go past one of the boys. He was going to score, and he like knocked it on the air, and the ball went up in the air, and I jumped up for it to grab it, and my shoulder just goes bang.
That's right. Yeah.
So then dislocate my shoulder, sitting on the sideline. I'm going, oh no, I'll be right. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's feeling alright. You know what I mean? And Doc's like, yeah, but
I watched that game. I watched that game. I remember the commentators were.
Yeah, and I'm going far out, man. I was supposed to go back into Origin camp the next day. Yeah. And as the hour went on, I just couldn't move my arm, couldn't move it. And then obviously I didn't go back into camp. And then, I was out for 6 weeks.
So 6-week recovery.
Yeah.
So Origin 1 comes around the Wednesday night. But correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Harry Grant go down at some point in between then and Origin 2?
Yeah, so we played Origin 1. Obviously the boys didn't do too good. Origin 2 comes around, and I think 2 weeks before, or the week after the Origin, he does his hammy.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm sitting there, and obviously it was me or him, and they picked him, which is like sweet. He was playing mad footy, and he gets injured.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I'm still out for 4 more weeks.
Yeah, so let's go there. Let's go to that place. Let's hello, darkness, my old friend, right? Where are you at now? Like, you're just hating. That's when the anger blood's boiling, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't even move my arm off my shoulder. I'm just sitting there going, this can't be happening. You know what I mean? I just was in like disbelief, and like I was like, why would I deserve this? You know what I mean? And you think back, what have I done? You know what I mean? But then I just saw, it took me a couple of weeks, bro, honestly.
To get past it?
To get over it. And I was like, far out, man. Like, oh, well, it is what it is. And I'm at Origin 3. I was counting down to Origin 3. And he still wasn't back by then.
Yeah.
He was missing Origin 3.
I think Andrew McCullough came in.
Yeah, he come in and play. And I'm like, I'm on the phone to my manager going, bro, I can play, I reckon.
Yeah, right.
And he goes, well, the Origin's on the Wednesday. I was going to play on the Saturday anyway.
Yeah.
So what's 4 days difference? You know what I mean? But obviously, Origin's different arena, bro. They need people that are fresh and you know what I mean. And even that time I'm
still so close,
I'm like,
right?
Far out. And then I played another 4 weeks with my shoulder.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, just went again. And obviously spoke to Doc the first time when he goes, if it happens again, we're gonna have to seriously have a look at it. So then by this stage, we actually when COVID happened, the whole NRL had to move to Gold Coast.
Yeah, that's right.
To Brisbane. So boys were split up. There was teams up in Sunny Coast, Brisbane, Gold Coast.
Yeah.
We were in the Goldie. I played about 4 games, did my shoulder again, and I was like, oh no. And I was in tears, bro, when I did it, because I knew that, because that's who I am, bro. I just wear my heart on my sleeve and I want to win. And we're getting pumped that game too. And I was just like, I knew my season was done. And then obviously when we had scans and that, it was obviously worse and couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So then I had to have shoulder surgery up on the Gold Coast or Brisbane while the boys were still playing, and that's when we made it to the second week of the finals and they just lost.
Yeah.
And like that was hard, bro, to sit there and watch, and I've never really had an injury before. So it was hard to sort of...
For that extent as well, right?
Yeah,
Was it the same shoulder?
What?
So that heading into the finals, was that the same shoulder you'd done, or was that the second?
Yeah, no. So same shoulder.
Yeah.
So I had to have surgery, and then just sit there and watch the boys play, and I'm that sort of person that just burns me to watch them play, and then they lost and
Shitty spectator, eh?
yeah,
Just
worst
wanna be
ever,
out there,
the worst ever, and not having an injury like my whole career, touch wood. I think I broke my foot, but I was out for like 4 or 5 weeks, which is nothing.
Yeah.
But this is like 8 months recovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like,
geez.
oh, bro, it was so hard, and to get back, I was in a sling for like 8 weeks.
But also been in the bubble, right?
Yeah, so we couldn't
the bubble
even.
would have just done your head in already.
So we couldn't do anything, right, for like a couple of weeks because we were staying in a resort. There was like, you know, them temporary fencing you see like at work sites. The whole resort was covered in that.
So no one in and out, never out unless
you couldn't leave and no one could come in. You could order Uber Eats.
Yeah.
It had to be like delivered by someone to get to your room and shit. Until it finally like it.
Are you rooming or have you got your own?
No,
room?
you've got your own room.
Got your own room, yeah.
But like, so everyone's scattered everywhere. But I was actually
teams in the same resort as well, right?
Yeah, there was like 3 teams.
Yeah.
In our resort. You know what? It wasn't too bad. You know what I mean? For a
Just
few
a boys'
weeks.
trip, right?
It was honestly, we had a big team room, like massive, and we'd have like if we played on a Friday, Saturday, everyone would have beers in the team room.
Yeah.
We'd chuck the races on, put a couple beds on.
Yeah.
And then like during the week, we'd have like a FIFA tournament with all the boys, and then like one of the boys would put like cash in, so it'd be like $500.
Yeah.
The pair win 500 if you win the FIFA tournament. And
so it's all right.
you
got through it.
We'd have like every night we'd play
it.
poker till like 11 o'clock, like just in the team room and like
Just to get you through.
yeah. So it wasn't that bad, but like you have your times where you're like, you know, hotel food shit.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
And then we finally moved out and got our own place. Like we went to like a resort, but we could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
So it was alright.
So tough year, but I mean, it's one of those ones, and I've said it a couple of times. It's one of those ones that like you'll be like that's a story for the grandkids, right? You lived in that bubble, like you played when it was a COVID period.
Yeah.
Because I remember everything else shuts down. Like we weren't even allowed to open our office, and you guys are still playing footy. I'm like, well, the country needed something, right? Yeah.
But like honestly, I feel like what would anyone do if they couldn't watch anything on TV?
Oh, 100%. There'd be probably more. There'd probably be like I hate to say it, but there'd probably be more suicides and stuff like that, bro. Like people needed something at that point, and sport.
I feel like we sort of, as much as we got it good, we sort of helped people get through
100%.
it because there was footy games on from Thursday to Sunday. I mean, it was hard for us. We had to have COVID tests every day.
Yeah.
We couldn't go to certain places. We had to log in on an app to say where we've been.
Yeah.
Like what time we were there, what time did we leave.
Oh, but even as well, the guys who have families away from their families, well, I know a lot of them brought them up as well.
Well, like you look at the New Zealand boys, right? They were here for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think I was reading, like, 2 of us checked in to see his family for a long time because they kept him in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he was over here. Bro, that's hard. He's got little ones.
And he's got to front the media as captain every day and whatever
that's
else.
hard, like,
yeah.
Even for the other boys, like, having kids and living in and out of hotels, like, man, that's hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're lucky, bro. I was just by myself, and me and all the boys were just
hanging out.
You know what I mean? But you got kids and stuff, and you're living in like a hotel. Like it's hard.
So you get out of the bubble, go back. So you've had the shoulder surgery, reconstruction or surgery. So that's obviously that was COVID year, right? You did your shoulder to finish the season, So boys get to second round of finals that year. Go back, so you get fit. Do you start round 1 or not?
Yeah, I do. Like even the rehab stuff, bro, I found so hard.
Yeah.
Like I'd be trying to do something and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
and I'm the sort of person that just makes me angry. I'm like I just throw the thing away and then thank God like there's a scene like, bro, it's alright. Like you have your bad days, you have your good days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was running, I couldn't run, we couldn't get full. It took me months, man. And then I got to a stage and I felt like I just was like at the top of the hill and I just
calm down again.
I finally got it and then I was sweet.
Yeah. Domino.
Sort of.
A big domino.
Took an effect, but obviously did a lot of research in that, and it said like people that have surgery like I did for the first like 10 weeks, you won't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But I was like probably got to the 10th week last year, and like I started to feel comfortable in my tackling because my tackling wasn't the best, but it was just because I just didn't.
Well, it would have been like for a bloke who makes 50 a game already, right? Like surely you've come back pretty nervous about that as well.
Yeah, of course, and like took so long to just get that confidence back to just be able to tackle someone again.
Yeah.
And then but now it's sweet, man.
So rolling on to last season, and obviously not a great end for you boys, but you get through it. You know, obviously it's Para's year and whatever else. You're leaving. A couple of other boys I think left as well last season, right? Your 100th game ticks up. Let's talk about culture on that front, because we'll bring it back to business a little bit. Like, did you guys just see round one of last season? Did you guys, even in pre-season, like, what was the vibe? What was the culture like? The feel, the confidence around the group? And
we talked about it a lot, about how good our team was when we all did our job. It wasn't about someone going off and doing their own thing to try and be better than someone or do it by themselves. And you can sort of relate it to business, I guess. Someone trying to do more than someone without doing it together, sort of thing. That's sort of how we did it. Like, not everyone has to be a 10 out of 10 when you play. If you get 13 7 out of 10s, then you're going to win.
Good.
You're going to win.
For sure.
But if you get people that aren't doing their job, and you get a guy that's a 3 out of 10, but then you got 5 guys out of 3 out of 10, but you got 3 guys at 8 out of 10, your chances of winning is slim.
And that was credit to you boys, the group that you guys had, and that's probably why there was so much talk about it, because you talk, and a business term, there's a business term called the 80-20 rule, right? Yeah. Essentially, 20% of the team does 80% of the work, right? And same in anything, like, or you look at a lot of even the current NRL teams, like literally 20% of the team is doing majority of 80% of the work. Whereas, you guys didn't have that. You probably had a team of 7s and 8s every single week, a couple of 9s and 10s in there, but there was anyone letting it down. So again, another setback. But I hate.
But you have them along the way. Like, we were good. We were like, when we were on, we were a very good footy team.
Yeah.
But then we'd have our days, man.
I remember it was the one. They say it every year, right? You lose, a team who loses by 50 points isn't going to win the comp. But you guys came through that. Was it Melbourne?
No, we didn't. No, it wasn't. We didn't lose by a thing, but we lost to we lost to the Tigers Easter Monday. They beat us in extra time.
That's right.
And that was it. They won all year.
Yeah.
They were coming dead last, and we'll come in second or third or something.
So what do you like? Where's the mindset coming in on Monday from that?
Oh, it's head noise. I'll tell you that. But it's you just got to assess and understand where it went wrong.
Yeah.
And it was sort of pretty much that, people trying to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
But it's more about when things bad happen. It's about what you do as a group. Where if you get people that go split, that's when it becomes a problem. But then if you stay together and
that's the culture thing,
and
right?
you move on,
having the culture, pull everyone
and
back
have honest conversations with, mate, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
you don't need to do that. That's not your job details. Because in footy, bro, everyone, fullbacks, centre wings, half, fullback, hookers, we all have our own job details. It's like, this is what you do in a game that makes you your best player.
Literally like a business, you know what I mean? Right?
Legit.
Everyone's got their own roles.
And so we did that. And we had some good wins, and we had some pretty bad ones as well in games we should have won. But I think it just made the team who we are, and maybe we had the best year. I've been playing NRL now for 5 years, and I've sat on the couch and watched the grand final play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drinking beers.
But that burning desire would just be fueling the fire, right? So you get to so your 100th was first round of semis, was it?
That was a prelim to get into the grand final.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So 100 games obviously doesn't happen, and obviously, mate. I hate to. It's obvious. Hopefully, it's not too sensitive and raw still at the moment. But obviously, never a loss, right? Always a lesson. And
I tell people now. They ask me about, we played the game in North Queensland and won to get into grand final. It was like the best feeling ever. Mad. And then we get to the grand final week, and the grand final week, bro, is so busy.
Yeah.
It probably shook me a bit. Like, I tell people. They go, oh, how was it? What would you... I said, I'd do everything completely different.
Would you? There you go.
I would... not in a sense by my training or anything, but...
Too much in the hype?
Yeah, I just probably did things that I wouldn't usually do. I actually wore different boots.
Yeah.
So I don't ever wear metal studs. So you can get boots that wear half metal, half moulded.
Yeah.
I never wear studded ones. And I wore studs to the grand final. Why did I do that? Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Was it a wet game? Was it?
No, I had two brand new pairs of footy. One was half moulded and studded, and one was just moulded, which I wear every game.
Yeah.
And I wore these ones only because I thought, it's a bit joy. The grass is thick. I'll wear these ones
Jeez.
And then I had like, not that it affected me or anything, but I had heaps of people come over to my house from home on the Saturday, which I didn't really mind. Do you know what I mean? But
it's more just
I didn't
talking.
I just didn't get my nap in on the day, and like during the week.
Mate, half of Landsborough flew down.
Yeah, I know. And they all ended up at my house. But like I wouldn't have it any other way, you know what I mean? I'd probably just, you know.
Oh, mind you, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, your family are a diehard para family too.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. But no, it was a good experience, and you know,
So what do you take? What was and not to be cheesy or cliche, but what's the number one lesson out of the grand final? Well, like mental state wise, not footy wise. Take footy out of it because you
just stay in the moment and just take every day as it goes. I think I was a couple of days ahead, even like to the point, wearing different boots. Why would I do that? You know what I mean?
But you've probably got to be in one to
100%. Well, if I get there again, which I feel I know I will, and I will be able to tell the younger guys it's his first grand final, mate, just do what you usually do. Like even in my footy terms, I did things that I wouldn't usually do in a game.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm not the biggest, whatever. I'm not trying to go out and flog blokes, and I was trying to do it. You know what I mean?
Just scuffle and
like, but why would I do that?
Game,
you know what I mean? So, like you take. You know, you take your lessons and you move on with them.
But it's something that no one's ever going to, unless you've been there, you know, a few times before, you're never really going to know what's involved. And from outside perspective, looking in from me or anyone watching, of course, it's like, you know, we can sit here and agree and say, you shouldn't have done anything. But at the end of the day, mate, we've never been there either, right? So it's you've just got to take it in your stride. Yeah. Let's finish it up on a couple of things. One thing I want to talk to you about is goals because, again, I'm obsessed with goals. And for, you know, when I was in my early 20s, even mid-20s, even late 20s to be fair, like I wasn't always big on goals. I know you guys would probably talk about it a lot, team goals, individual goals, but like what are the goals going into this year? Not so much for you guys as a team, but let's talk about Reed. Like, is it? Is it like what's one question? And hopefully, don't mind me asking it, but now that you've missed that opportunity at the grand final, the Origin thing happened as well. Like, what's the pinnacle for Reed Mahoney? Like, and sorry if it's too hard to answer, but like and this is probably just more for the punters watching on, right? Like grand final or Origin, like what's the?
It's hard.
Too hard to pick.
Yeah,
can't.
I think. I don't know.
I won't make you.
I feel like Origin's more of an individual accolade.
Yeah.
And it'd be awesome to play in that, but to win a grand final, like fire, bro.
Yeah.
Be the best.
So what are the goals? So goals this year, obviously team wise, you know.
Just obviously we're a new team, new coach, heaps of new players. We just need to gel together, go out there and play footy, and just play finals footy. That's our goal.
Yeah,
that's what I think would be.
And what are you doing every day? Waking up? Are you one of those guys that's kind of just reviewing your goal? Like, what are your individual goals? Obviously, Origin's still on there, grand final.
Yeah, so I'm obviously. I actually probably 4 months ago, I actually started not journaling, but like I'd write down. Because I'm pretty hopeless, to be honest, of like remembering stuff.
You just got to do it.
I've got a book at home, like every day I take it everywhere I go, training, I leave it in my car. If I think of something when I'm driving, like when I stop, I'll write it down. Like even if it's like put fuel in the car, like I'll do that.
I admire that for sure. Yeah.
Today's grocery day or like, you know, little things like that. I feel that's kind of good for me. And just like, even bro, when like what you're feeling, like just write down, why was I this today? Or do you know what I mean? So.
You look at anyone who's at the top of their game though, journaling, whether you call it journaling or note taking, and I do it all the time. I take my notes on my phone. I'll wake up at 2:00 in the morning. I'll just have these, you know, business ideas or something I've got to do with the team or whatever else, and I'll just jot it down just to get it the hell out of your head.
Yeah, it's weird how it works like that, eh? Like,
otherwise it just sits with you. Forever.
And some days I'll write half a page. Like I only got a little book.
Yeah.
Some days I'll write half a page of things, and then some days I'll write like one or two things.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just whatever's going through my mind. You know what I mean?
So goals. So let's talk about goals. Goals this year. Not even this year. Goals for Reed Mahoney. Like what are you going to?
Depends. Like footy or off the field sort of things. Well, both.
Both.
Oh well, obviously I've just I bought a place and just renovated it, so I enjoyed that. And I've done heaps of courses and, I was at uni for a year and did business and sports business, that is, and I struggled at uni. I just couldn't do it. Like writing's hard,
yeah,
man. You know what I mean?
Dude.
So then, I did I've done my PT and stuff like that, and I've actually enrolled in a building course.
Yeah.
So I want to try and get my builder's license.
Sweet.
Obviously, I really enjoyed doing renovations, and I want to be able to, have a builder's license and do them things more often.
So the big goals, obviously, at the moment, as you're probably getting older and talking to Reed Mahoney at 17, 18, this wouldn't even have been in your psyche, but so you're obviously looking at now post-footy as well, looking at ideas of, obviously it's a short career.
Yeah. It's like, I'm always trying to, and I probably, because of COVID and all this, I probably went away from all that. So I want to get back into doing a bit of study. I got a couple of guys that can help me with my building stuff. I just really enjoy it. And I feel like I'm in a situation now financially and then people that I know and the people that want to help me with all this building stuff that I can really make the most of it.
Yeah.
And obviously I want to make my transition out of footy as easy as possible.
Yeah. So what's the goal at the moment after footy? I mean, obviously you got still plenty of years left, of course, and enjoy that as much as you can. But have you kind of gotten to that point in your career yet where you're sort of getting excited or nervous or curious about
I'm always nervous about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just I'm just lucky I've obviously signed a long contract and all that, and I want to make the most out of it. And I've actually I got a finance guy that helps me out with all my stuff, that we've got goals sort of thing, and obviously to buy more property and all them sort of things. So, and then obviously that's when my building sort of comes into it, where I can knock and rebuild and build duplexes myself, and well, not myself, but have my own license and it's mine sort of thing. So that's sort of what I want to do post footy sort of thing. And I know hopefully there's a long time to go, like 10 years, man. But I feel if you're thinking about it now, when I get to that point, because you see a lot of people that finish footy and they struggle with the transition for 12, 18 months because
it becomes everything, right? And as you were saying before, you become so regimented in your day.
Oh, like I get told what time my lunchtime is and what time my meetings is every day, and then
if that stops,
well, what do you do? You know what I mean? So things like that is my goal. So for the year.
So still business. There you go. So there's a hidden agenda in this anyway, right? Obviously, at the end of it, there's some sort of business or investing and stuff.
And I've actually, I've actually been in touch with the guy that I met at my local cafe, who's a radio host.
Oh yeah, sweet.
So I've actually inquired on him to come in and do some work doing some radio on that, because
time to get on some more podcasts, bro. Get the microphone.
I just feel like going in there, or even when I retire, doing like Triple M,
footy
commentating and that. You know what I mean? Little things like that, and just learning, meeting new people, and trying to be the best person I can be. It's hard because every day is take it as it is, but that's sort of the goal for the year, is get into the radio stuff and get another property and stuff like that.
So just try and keep as many options open. Right? It sounds like
and then footy wise, more it's a new club for me, and I was very not uncomfortable, but it's a big challenge. Obviously going there is everyone looks up to you and expects a lot from you. So just being me, and I feel people can go somewhere and try to be someone they're not. Me try and be a different player to what I was, but the reason they got me is because of the player I am. You know what I mean? Cool. So I just got to go there and be Reed, and just
keep putting your head in places that other people
just got to. Like even that training the last couple of weeks, I made mistakes. And I'm like, fire out, bro. Like, but then you got to realize, bro, you're still young, you're still learning. You make mistakes. That's how you get better. So just because you're new and everyone looks up to you doesn't mean you can't make mistakes, sort of thing. So just being the best player for my teammates, and obviously see myself as a leader at the Bulldogs. So somewhat in that leadership group sort of capacity, and just playing good footy.
No, and you sound confident with it, bro. Like, I think at the end of the day, when I asked you that question, it all kind of came off your tongue pretty confidently. So it does sound like you're getting back in, or you're getting into that strong mental state, and you're managing your psychology of it all, and setting some goals. And I'm glad to hear you journaling and stuff. Obviously, that's for someone who's known you for a long time, probably
a bit weird.
No, it's cool, bro. Like, I think for guys who come from places like we do, people don't do that stuff, man. And so it's look, bro. I've loved watching your journey thus far. Stoked to have you in here today. Where do people find you, mate? Instagram, Reed Mahoney, watch the journey. That's Reed Mahoney, not Mahoney, right?
Mahoney.
I was playing footy with your brother. They'd score a try and they'd be like, try scorer Todd Mahoney, and he'd be yelling up at the box.
That must have not happened much.
Did once or twice. No, when he was 120 kilos when we were 15 years old. Good man. Well, thanks, bro. Thanks for coming on. As I said, we'll watch the journey with interest, and now that we know how the mind works, I think it'll be more entertaining. But all the best for the season, bro, and looking forward to it. Cheers.